I am sitting on a rock shelf at 9,000 feet, my ankle throbbing inside my boot, the wind picking up around me. Serena is standing 4 feet away with her backpack already repositioned on her shoulders. She is not crouching beside me. She is not looking at my ankle. She is looking down the trail, away from me, like she is already gone. I reach my hand up toward her. Serena, help me up. If you just help me up, I can try to... She takes one small step back, and what she says next, I will hear it for the rest of my life. Mom, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep being responsible for you. My name is Diane Calloway. I am 56 years old. I own a successful interior design firm in Portland, Oregon. I raised my daughter Serena completely alone from the time she was 3 years old, after her father chose himself over both of us and never looked back. I worked double projects through her childhood. I skipped vacations I needed so she could have experiences she wanted. I built something, quietly, steadily, brick by brick, so that the woman standing 4 feet away from me on this mountain would never have to start from nothing the way I did. I need you to know that before I tell you what she said next. I need you to hold that. 26 years, everything I had, everything I chose. Because what comes next is going to ask a great deal of your heart. We had been hiking for nearly 3 hours when I twisted my ankle on a loose shelf of rock around mile 6. It wasn't dramatic. No tumble, no scream. Just one wrong placement, a sharp, bright pain, and then I was on the ground doing the slow, deliberate breathing of a woman assessing damage. The ankle was bad. Not broken, I thought, but bad enough. I could feel it swelling against my boot already. Serena had been ahead of me on the trail by about 20 feet when it happened. She heard me go down. She came back. She stood over me and looked at my ankle, and I saw something move across her face that I could not immediately identify. I know now what it was. In that moment, I told myself it was worry. I was wrong about that. I have been wrong about a great many things where Serena is concerned. I need help getting up, I told her. If you can just give me your arm. She handed me the water bottle instead. She didn't crouch down. She stayed standing. And she looked at me with an expression I had never seen on her face in 29 years. Not impatience exactly, something flatter than that. Something that had clearly been waiting a long time to surface. You should rest for a minute, she said. So I rested. I drank the water. I tried to flex my ankle and winced. And Serena stood above me with her hand shading her eyes, looking out at the trail ahead, and I had the strangest feeling, sharp and irrational, I told myself, that she was calculating something. Then she repositioned her backpack, and I understood. I look up at her. The sun is behind her head, and I have to squint to see her face. Where are you going? I told you, to find help. Then help me up first. I'll come with you. A pause. She looks at me, really looks at me, and what I see in her eyes makes my stomach drop. Mom. Her voice is quiet, almost gentle, the way voices get when someone has rehearsed what they are about to say. I love you, but you have been an anchor around my neck my entire life. The world goes very still. I have spent my whole life waiting for you to retire, waiting for things to be mine, waiting for my turn, and I am so tired of waiting. I stare at her. My mouth is open. Nothing comes out. You never gave me room to breathe. You were always there, always hovering, always making me feel like I owed you something for every little thing you did. Serena, I need you to stay here. She adjusts her strap one more time. Her jaw is set. Her eyes are dry. Someone will come. There are other hikers. She takes a step down the trail, then stops, doesn't turn around. I need to start living my life, Mom. I hope you understand that. And she walks away. I watch her go. I watch her until the trail bends and the trees take her and there is nothing left of her but the sound of her footsteps fading. And then that too is gone. And it's just me and the mountain and the wind that has started picking up in that particular way that means the temperature is about to drop. I call her phone. It rings. She doesn't answer. I call again and again and again. I sit on that rock for 4 hours. The light changes, the cold comes. I eat half a granola bar, and I ration the last of the water, and I talk to myself, out loud, quietly, because silence at 9,000 feet with a swollen ankle and a dying phone and a daughter who chose to walk away is a silence that will swallow you whole if you let it. I don't let it. What I don't know yet, what I have absolutely no idea about while I sit on that mountain, holding myself together with nothing but sheer Diane Calloway stubbornness, is what Serena is doing at that exact moment. I don't know about the party. I don't know about the dress. I don't know about the login attempt on my investment portfolio or the conversation she's been having for months with people who are not me about money that was never hers to count. I don't know yet that a stranger named Patricia, a woman who passed me on the trail and noticed I hadn't moved, is the reason I'm going to survive this night. What I know is this. My daughter just told me I was an anchor, and somewhere between the fourth unanswered call and the moment I hear the distant radio crackle of a search and rescue team moving up the trail toward me, I make a decision. Quiet, final, unshakable. She wants her life to start? Fine. Let's talk about what that life actually looks like. If this story is gripping you, please subscribe and hit the bell. I share stories just like this every week, and you will not want to miss what happens next. The search and rescue team reaches me just as the last thread of daylight pulls itself off the mountain. There are 3 of them, 2 men and a woman, moving up the trail with headlamps and a radio, and the unhurried efficiency of people who have done this in the dark before and will do it again. The one who reaches me first crouches down immediately, checks my ankle, checks my eyes, and says, "You're okay. We've got you." His name is Joel, and those 4 words, "We've got you," undo something in me that has been holding itself very tightly for 4 hours. I don't cry. I want to be clear about that. I don't cry on that mountain, but something releases. Some locked interior door swings open just slightly, and I breathe, really breathe, for the first time since Serena's footsteps disappeared around that bend. Joel wraps my ankle with the focused care of someone who treats strangers better than my own daughter treated me today. I watch his hands work, and I feel something shift very quietly behind my sternum. "Who called this in?" I ask. "Hiker named Patricia Chen," he says. "Passed you on the way down. Said you hadn't moved. She called it in from the trailhead." I close my eyes for exactly 3 seconds. A stranger, a woman whose last name I didn't know this morning and whose face I will never forget. She is the reason I am sitting here being helped instead of slowly freezing into the mountain. Not my daughter. A stranger who owed me absolutely nothing gave me everything tonight. Joel drives me to the trailhead in the Ranger vehicle. I give him my home address. He doesn't ask questions. We pull onto my street just before 9:30, and I see it before we even reach the driveway, the lights blazing from every window. Cars banked along both sides of the street, music moving through the walls of my house and out into the quiet neighborhood like it owns the place, like she owns the place. I stare through the windshield. Joel goes very still beside me. "Is everything all right, ma'am?" I watch a shadow cross my living room window. I hear laughter, bright, untroubled, celebratory laughter. "It will be," I say. I thank Joel. I climb out of the Ranger vehicle in borrowed socks and a rescue team jacket 3 sizes too large, and I stand on the pavement and I look at my house. My house, the one I purchased at 39 years old after a decade of working 2 jobs and eating sandwiches at my desk and telling myself, one day. The one I painted and furnished and filled and loved. The one I have been paying the mortgage on alone for 17 years. I take out my phone, I press record, and I walk up the driveway. My front door is unlocked. Of course it is. I push it open and the warmth and the noise hit me together. Music from my speaker system, voices overlapping, the particular electricity of a room full of people who believe they have nothing to worry about. 20, maybe 25 people, young, dressed up, drinks in hand. Someone has rearranged my living room furniture to create a cleared space at the center. There are bottles covering my kitchen counter and a group of women clustered around my fireplace, taking photographs like it is a set they hired. A man I have never seen before is sitting in my reading chair with his shoes on. And there, at the center of it all, glowing, laughing, tilting her head back with the full-body joy of someone who has just been liberated, is Serena. She is wearing a new dress, fitted, expensive, coral-colored. Her hair is done in the style she saves for occasions. She has a champagne glass in her hand, and her cheeks are flushed, and she is so completely and radiantly happy that for one fractured second I almost don't recognize her. Then she sees me. The laughter stops, not gradually, instantly, like someone cut the power to it. The room follows her gaze to the doorway, one by one, 20-something faces turning toward the woman in borrowed socks and a rescue jacket with a wrapped ankle and a phone recording everything. Someone reaches over and lowers the music. Serena's champagne glass tilts in her hand. She writes it. She opens her mouth. Her voice comes out smaller than I have ever heard it. "Mom? I thought..." "You thought what?" I ask. Gently, genuinely. She doesn't answer. She can't. Because the honest answer, the true, unvarnished answer, is something she cannot say in front of 25 witnesses. I look around the room slowly, at the bottles, at the furniture, at the man in my reading chair who has not moved, at the women by my fireplace who are no longer taking photographs. "I hope everyone is having a wonderful evening," I say. "Please finish your drinks." I turn around. I walk back out into the night. I call Claudette from the driveway, and she answers on the second ring, and I say 4 words. "Can I come over?" She says, "I'll put the kettle on." Claudette has been my closest friend for 19 years. She opens her door before I finish knocking, takes a full look at me, the jacket, the socks, the ankle, the expression, and she steps aside without a single word and lets me in. That is the entirety of what I need from a human being in this moment, to be let in without having to explain myself first. I sit at her kitchen table and I tell her everything. The trail, the ankle, what Serena said, the 4 hours, Joel, Patricia Chen, the party, all of it, in order, without dramatics, the way I process everything, because I have learned over 56 years that hysteria is expensive and clarity is free. Claudette listens without interrupting. When I finish, she is quiet for a moment. She refills my mug. She sits down across from me and folds her hands on the table. "Diane," she says, "what do you want to do?" And I tell her about the will, about the inheritance I prepared 18 months ago, the down payment fund, the investment bonds, the handwritten letter, all of it sitting quietly in my attorney Marcus Webb's office, waiting for a daughter I believed deserved it. Claudette absorbs this. "She doesn't know about it," I say. "She never asked. She was too busy assuming." "So she left you on a mountain for an inheritance she didn't know existed," Claudette says slowly. "Yes." We sit with that for a moment. The weight of it fills the kitchen. Then my phone lights up on the table between us, a security alert from my investment portfolio app. Someone has attempted to log in using my email address. The attempt was made from a device registered to Serena's account. I pick up the phone. I look at the notification. I set it back down. I look at Claudette, and something in my expression makes her sit up straighter. "Call Marcus," she says quietly. "Tonight." "First thing tomorrow," I say. "Tonight I need to think." I think I finally have everything I need to understand what my daughter is. Then my phone buzzes again, a text this time, from a number I don't recognize. 8 words that make the hair on my arms stand up. "She told us you weren't coming back from that hike." I read the text 3 times. Then I screenshotted it. Then I forwarded it to Claudette's phone without a word and watched her read it across the table and watch the color leave her face. "She told us you weren't coming back from that hike." 8 words. And in those 8 words, the entire shape of it. Not impulse. Not a moment of weakness or selfishness or poor judgment. Planning. My daughter had told people I was not coming back. Past tense. Certainty. She had stood over me on that mountain with my water bottle in her hand and my ankle swelling against my boot, and she had already told people. I sit very still. The kitchen clock ticks. Claudette doesn't speak. She knows me well enough to know that I am not in a place that needs words right now. I am in a place that needs silence and a clear surface to think on. I call Marcus Webb at 7:53 the next morning. He is already at his desk. He always is. I tell him everything in the order it happened, the same way I told Claudette, without dramatics, without editorializing. When I finish, there is a brief pause. "Diane," he says, "I need you to come in today." "I know," I say. "I'll be there at 10. I arrive at Marcus's office with 3 things: my phone containing the recording from the party, the screenshot of the anonymous text, and a very clear mind. Marcus is a compact, precise man who has handled my legal affairs for 11 years and has never once wasted a sentence. He listens. He reviews the recording. He reads the text. He pulls up my file. "The will as it stands," he says, "leaves Serena the down payment fund, the investment bonds, and a 50% share of the business upon your retirement or passing." "I know what it says," I tell him. "I wrote it." I fold my hands in my lap. I look at him directly. "I want to rewrite it." Marcus holds my gaze for a moment. "All of it?" "Every word." What I do over the next 6 days is not revenge. I want to be honest about that because the word revenge suggests heat, and I am not operating from heat. I am operating from something much colder and much more permanent. I am a woman who spent 26 years building something with great deliberateness, and I am now dismantling one part of it with equal deliberateness. That is not rage. That is accounting. The down payment fund, $45,000 I had set aside specifically so Serena would never have to rent when she was ready to buy, I redirect to a housing charity in Portland that helps single mothers. I think about that for a long time before I do it. I think about the version of Serena I was saving it for, the one I believed in, the one I raised, the one who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during long drives and wake up asking questions about the stars. I redirected it in her honor. That version of her deserved it. This one made a different choice. The investment bonds I restructure into a trust, controlled, inaccessible, governed by conditions that Marcus and I spend 2 hours carefully drafting. Education, documented employment, 5 consecutive years of financial independence. Not punishments, conditions. The difference matters to me. The business share I remove entirely. I update my partnership documents the same week. My firm is mine. It will remain mine. If I choose to pass it on one day, it will be to someone who understands what it costs to build it. I also call Patricia Chen. It takes me 4 days to track her down, through the ranger station. Joe helps, bless him. And when she answers the phone and I tell her who I am, she goes very quiet and then says, Oh, I'm so glad you're all right." I tell her what she did. I tell her that she is the reason I am having this conversation. She says it was nothing, that anyone would have done the same, and I tell her gently but firmly that no, not anyone, not everyone, and I want her to know the difference. I send her flowers and a letter, and I mean every word of both. Serena calls 11 times over those 6 days. I answer on the 7th call, not because I am ready to forgive, but because I am ready to speak. There is a difference. I have learned to know the difference. She answers on the 1st ring. Her voice is careful, prepared, like she has been rehearsing. "Mom, I need to explain." "Serena," my voice is quiet, even. "I'm going to speak first, and I need you to listen without interrupting. Can you do that?" A pause. "Yes." I know about the login attempt on my portfolio. I know you told people I was not coming back from that hike. I know about the party. I know about the dress. I know about all of it. Silence. What I want you to also know is that 18 months ago, I updated my will. I set aside $45,000 for your future, investment bonds, a business share, a letter I wrote by hand. I did it because I love you, and I wanted your life to be easier than mine was. I hear her breath catch. I want you to sit with that. I want you to really sit with it. You left me on a mountain for a future I had already given you. You just didn't think to ask. The silence that follows is the longest I have ever shared with my daughter. It stretches and stretches, and I let it. I do not fill it. I do not soften it. I let her live inside it for as long as it takes. When she speaks, her voice is completely different, stripped of the preparation, stripped of the calculation. What is left underneath sounds startlingly like the child she used to be. Mom, I didn't know. I know you didn't. I thought you were never going to let go. I thought I was going to be waiting forever, and I got so angry and Her voice breaks. I left you there. I left you there, and I told people. She can't finish the sentence. Yes, I say, you did. I don't say it cruelly. I say it the way you state a fact that has to be stated before anything else can be true. I'm calling not to punish you, I tell her. I'm calling to tell you the truth, because I think this family has been surviving on things left unsaid for a long time, and I am done with that. I tell her about the will, what it was, what it is now. I tell her about the trust conditions, not as a threat, but as a map back if she wants it. She cries, really cries, not the performative tears I have seen from her before, but something ragged and real and ugly in the way that genuine grief is always a little ugly. I listen to it. I don't rush it. I don't tell her it's okay, because it is not okay. But it is survivable, and I believe, with the stubborn, battered, still breathing belief of a woman who raised this child alone through everything, that she is survivable too. We do not fix it on that phone call. I want to be clear about that. There is no tidy resolution, no tearful reunion, no moment where everything resets. Real damage doesn't work that way, and I am too old and have been through too much to pretend otherwise. What there is, a second phone call 2 weeks later, then a third, then a coffee in a neutral place with enough distance between us that we can both breathe. Serena gets a job, a real one, consistent, salaried. She moves into a small apartment in southeast Portland. She calls me on Sundays. The calls are shorter than they used to be and more honest than they have ever been. The business continues to thrive. My home is quiet and entirely mine, and I have learned slowly, gratefully, to hear that quiet as abundance rather than absence. My mother's instinct did not die on that mountain, but it grew up. It learned to love my daughter without disappearing into her. It learned to hold space without being consumed by it. 5 months after the hike, I received a card in the mail, handwritten, Serena's handwriting, small and slanted the way it has always been since she was 7 years old, learning cursive at my kitchen table. Mom, I found the letter you wrote. Marcus gave it to me. I read it 4 times. I don't deserve it, but I'm going to spend a long time trying to. I stand at my kitchen counter and I read it twice. Then I fold it carefully, and I put it in the drawer where I keep the things that matter. I don't call her right away. I make myself a cup of coffee. I stand at my window and I look out at the city I built my life in, and I breathe. Some things cannot be rushed. Some healings have their own timeline, and the most loving thing you can do is respect it. But I write back. Of course I write back. I am her mother. That part was never negotiable. What part of this story hit you the hardest? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. There is something I have carried with me since that mountain that I want to leave with you. Loving someone completely does not mean loving yourself less. I spent 26 years pouring myself into my daughter and calling it devotion, when some of it, if I am truly honest, was fear. Fear that if I stopped giving, she would stop needing me. Fear that a mother who set boundaries was a mother who loved less. What I know now is the opposite. The most loving thing I ever did for Serena was not the inheritance. It was surviving that mountain and coming home and telling her the truth. Boundaries are not the end of love. They are the condition under which love can actually breathe. You cannot pour from a broken vessel. Protect yourself first. The people worth keeping will understand. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Tell me in the comments where you're watching